council members, please get in the well. All of the council members, I need you in the well. All council members, please get in the well. How many I got?
I have 9. How many do you have? How many do you have?
All council members come into the well so we can start the meeting. How many I got, Pat?
9.
That enough to get started? How many more? 10? How many more? I need one more? 3 more?
Here's Kevin. That's 10. That's 11.
All right, we good?
Okay.
We good? Pat?
Do you have
Clerk?
12? Oh, yes.
Ready? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin,
Here.
Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moorer, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting. Under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting is in violation of the codified ordinances, commits misdemeanors, and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chambers after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Thank you. We'll now move to public comment. Once again, I'd ask all council members to turn around and acknowledge the public commenters. And I remind all of the public commenters that you have 3 minutes. We strictly adhere to those rules. You cannot use substitutions. And when you see the yellow, that means to wrap it up. When you see the red, that means that your time is up and we will abruptly cut the mic and move on. Okay? First, we have Stephen Katanovich from Ward 7 to talk about uncut tree branches on sidewalks. He's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Mr. Katanovich.
Okay, now, this time I won't be talking about the Galleria. I'm sure you know about the big construction project at the Galleria at Erie View Tower, and I have to wait until after the construction is over before I'm allowed back in the Galleria. Now, the speech I'm making today is a very different topic. I want to talk about a city issue. I want to talk about uncut tree branches on public sidewalks. That's right, I want to talk about uncut tree branches on public sidewalks. On many city streets, there are tree branches obstructing the sidewalks, making them unwalkable. These tree branches are a lethal weapon. These tree branches can cause serious injury. These tree branches can poke your eyes out and make you go blind. Obviously, the city's Department of Urban Forestry has limited resources on clearing these sidewalks. Again, the city's Department of Urban Forestry has limited resources on clearing these sidewalks. As a result, it is time for residents to come together and cut these branches on their own. Again, it is time for residents to come together and cut these branches on their own. Make our sidewalks safe again. It is time for the city to empower its own residents to do neighborhood maintenance work. Again, it is time for the city to empower its own residents to do neighborhood maintenance work and cut the branches on their own. The city cannot do everything. It is time to put an end to the reign of terror these tree branches are causing pedestrians. Again, it is time to put an end to the reign of terror these tree branches are causing pedestrians. Make our sidewalks safe again, even if we have to do it on our own. My name is Stephen Katanovich. I am a 51-year-old man. Again, my name is Stephen Katanovich.
Thank you. Next we have Brenda Bickerstaff. Brenda Bickerstaff is from Ward 9 to talk about the CPC vacancy. She's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm here again talking about the Cleveland Police Commission. There is still one seat that is vacant. Richard Jackson honestly had a meeting with Blaine Griffin and the committee. I asked Mr. Jackson, who was a former police officer, what is in his jacket. I asked the law department, I spoke to Delonte Spencer Thomas and asked him could he do, it's called a letter of explanation. Many times when you go for your license down in Columbus, if you've been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor, they give you a reasonable time to explain what the issue is to see if you've been rehabilitated. Well, Richard Jackson does not have a felony. He doesn't have a misdemeanor. His issue was internal. It was internal. It was not against the public. And I would like to see him seated. I would like to see him seated because he explained, and Mr. Griffin, he can attest, he asked him at the meeting, he said, is there something in your jacket that we need to know about? And he explained it, so it's all out there in the public. And what occurred was internally, and I'm not saying making that for an excuse, but it was nothing against the public. It was something that happened on his job. So my issue is, you're over 100 days now in violation of that seat. And Dr. Adams came down and spoke about 2 vacancies with a one person that needed to be sworn in and sworn in. But you have one more seat for the Black Shield. The Black Shield needs to have a spot on that commission, Mr. Griffin. Come on. We need that seat filled. We're running over 100 days. And I'm going to ask council, even the ones that don't agree with issue 24, Charter 115.5, Mr. Casey, Councilman Casey, we need that seat filled. Fair is fair and right is right, whether you like somebody or not. We have to get past if you don't like somebody. Like don't have nothing to do with the police killing people. Like don't have nothing to do with the police wrongfully convicting people, okay? So let's get beyond that pettiness. How can you expect us to get beyond that as you as professionals and elected officials are not beyond that? Let's get this together and get this man seated or get someone from the Black Shield or that commission. You're in violation. You're quiet. are in violation. And I'm going to say it again. You are in violation. Let's get it together. Let's get them on the commission so the commission can move forward. Thank you.
Next, we have Ben Heidi from Kudell to talk about the Cleveland flag, not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Ben, you have the floor.
Hi, good evening, Council. As an LGBT Clevelander, I came to talk about the importance of pride. One of the most important lessons returning attendees will tell a newcomer is that pride is not just a superficial party. It's a rich history, first as a protest, then as a march for visibility. In essence, what gives it weight is the story, the history that it carries. In Cleveland, our flag's history is at risk of being erased. I had the opportunity to meet Kristen Fergassi. She's the great-granddaughter of Susan Hepburn, who is the 18-year-old woman who created our flag. And the story is actually remarkable. She was 18 years old. She beat out 24 men in this competition that was originally held in 1895, and she was an ally. She was an accomplished artist later in life, and she had numerous male artist friends that were lifelong bachelors. So take what you will from that. The reason I tell you all this is because what's happening now is a bit of a disgrace. A symbol was recently simply made up for the city. We need to have more pride in our original flag, not have it shoved to the side. I'm asking all of you here today to more publicly defend the true people's flag of Cleveland, which is our original flag. Fly it over your house, show your support on social media, encourage non-governmental organizations to fly the original. And as you look around this chamber today, you can see elements of her flag embedded in the corners. I shudder to think of what it would look like with that knockoff Chicago design, complete with a 6-pointed star. We need to take back our flag, the true people's flag, before a vital Cleveland story gets rewritten by outsiders. And that's it.
Thank you. Next, we have Timothy Sommerfeld from Ward 11 to talk about EMS. He's with the Cleveland Association of Rescue Employees, not being paid by anyone. Mr. Sommerfeld, you have the floor.
This is not a substitution. I'm going to talk. Okay. I was not surprised to read in the newspaper that due to improvements in EMS building, we recovered an additional $19 million in funds into the city coffers. I was surprised to find out, however, that only 4% of those funds are going back into EMS. When people pay an EMS bill, they expect that that money is going to go back into improving emergency medical service. And yet, with the last transfer ordinance, 96% of that funding went to other city departments. And that's significant because EMS still has many unmet needs. For example, we met with risk management and asked for a blocker truck with a traffic attenuator to keep everybody safe on the freeway. And they were receptive, but funding remains an issue. We also met with MOCAP because there are significant facility needs within the division of EMS. For example, 4 of our $400,000 ambulances park outside year-round, even in the harsh Cleveland winters. And MOCAP, again, we had a really productive meeting, but funding remains an issue. We're working on a community paramedicine program to address the needs of high utilizers of 911, but funding is an issue. When CARE asked about new CPR machines that could be used on both medical patients and trauma patients, again, funding was an issue. And lastly, I ask that you guys take a look at the very chairs that you're sitting in. Recently, 2 of our EMS bases had a sewer pipe explosion. A sewer pipe burst and coated the entire base in feces, and the city could not even replace the chairs. And that's not uncommon. Our paramedics are currently furnishing their EMS workspaces off of the Buy Nothing site. In fact, if you were to go to Station 26 right now, where the medics are sitting, you would find that they're sitting on an old couch from my aunt's house, if they get any break in between calls at all. How can we expect somebody to be a paramedic? How can we convince somebody to come and work for the city of Cleveland for 33 years if we can't even get them a chair? Homicides peaked in 1973. Fires peaked in 1980, but the demand for EMS keeps going up. We need to make sure that we fund the Department of EMS in a manner that matches the expectations of the community, because we have not yet seen the peak of what the community is going to ask of EMS. Thank you.
Next, we have Chrissy Miller. Chrissy Miller is from Ward 16. Chrissy is here to talk about CEMS billing and budget. She's with the Cleveland Association of Rescue Employees, and she's not being paid by anyone. Chrissy, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. So to kind of give you the story of everything that's been happening. So back in 2016, Issue 32 was passed. For those who do not know what Issue 32 was, it was an income tax increase of 0.5%. That was the first increase in income tax since 1981 that was passed, resulted in an extra $80 million to the city. Fast forwarding to 2018 in the budget book, on page 3 in the mayor's letter of transmittal, Mayor Jackson specifically mentions the increases in ambulances to 25 units during the day and 21 ambulances at night from those funds provided by Issue 32. In July of that same year, in 2018, Cleveland.com actually published an article where they talked about a public safety fair that was used to recruit and hire people for EMS, fire, and police. Again, those funds were provided by Issue 32. Fast forwarding now to 2022, ambulance billing rates were actually doubled, which was to keep up with current rates across the country. However, in 2023, minimal staffing was changed to 23 ambulances during the day and 19 at night due to budget concerns. The problem that we're having is that we do have staff that want to work these ambulances, but because you're hitting that 19 and 23 cap, they're either being told no, they're being canceled, or they're being sent home early, resulting in ambulance closures. An example I can give: last week, my partner and I were both off on vacation days, but because we were at that 23 cap, they would not allow anybody to staff the ambulance, and I work over at Station 31 in Collinwood on 152 in St. Clair, so there was one 12-hour day where that ambulance was closed during the day. Meanwhile, in 2024, we did 107,000 calls with 77,000 transports. However, our average response time has gone up by almost 2 minutes since 2019. Keep in mind that because of the reduction in ambulances, our response time is going to go up. And January 1st of this year, the city did switch to QMC for billing, just like Tim had said earlier. $19 million has been brought in so far, but only 4% is being offered back to Cleveland EMS. Meanwhile, QMC gets 5% back, so it makes no sense to me that we would get less money than even the claims company. So potential idea with those funds: change the minimum staffing back to 25 during the day and 21 at night to help reduce our response times and serve our citizens. My question to council is, where did the funds for Issue 32 go if those staffing numbers were reduced? Shouldn't EMS generate revenue go back to Cleveland EMS? Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Fauzi Badur. Fauzi Badur is from Ward 11 to talk about 10022 Madison, the old CVS building. He's with a coalition for Better Cleveland, not being paid by anyone.
Good evening, all. I want to speak to Mayor White. Mayor Bibb. Mayor Bibb is not here, but I could send him the message. Mayors from Anthony Calabrese to Michael White all had their mark left on something good. And Mayor Bibb should have his mark left and for his legacy. Fire station number 23 is a hazardous place for the firemen to work and sleep in there. Those people, we watch them. We watch them, how they serve the community. How they serve people from Edgewater Park all the way to the border with Brooklyn. Sometimes they come from serving a call. Before they enter the bed, they get another call, and they keep on going. We have to acquire that place, 10022. Madison Avenue, adjacent to Goodell Park, the old CVS building, to make it the new fire station for number 23 for those firemen. Actually, the EMS use that place too. We owe it to them. We owe it to those people because day in and day, actually minute in and minute out, they're out there serving the community. And we have to return that favor. If we can't get a deal with those groups, the gas station groups who own the building, let's apply the power of the mayor. Use eminent domain and acquire it. This is a message, a good message to the firemen, to the first responders, that we care for them. Thank you.
Next, we have LaShawn Carwell from Mount Pleasant to talk about the conditions of Ward 4. And LaShawn is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have a few things that I want to bring to the attention of council. Kinsman is just like a main street. I live off Kinsman, and I love my community. I'm there by choice and not by force. I have a problem that we're not cleaning the streets, and I put in work order 107412, and also to cleaning up our sewers. We deserve city services because just like the people here, and I'm not being disrespectful, expect to be paid when the city pays, so the citizens of Cleveland expect to receive services, and that's only fair to us. We should not have to walk over trash, dirt, unsightly trees that's not being trimmed. The other thing is, for consideration, we use the community in Kinsman on Labor Day when everybody comes through there and does the parade for Labor Day, and we roll out the red carpet. But every day we live in that community, we don't have a red carpet, and that's unfair to us. There's other communities that they could have the parade in, but they don't, because we have an amenity and a choice location. So we need to be respected. Our community needs to be clean. The other thing is, I've been saying about that light at Kinsman and Martin Luther King, it's a death trap. Nobody has done anything about it in front of Audis. Everybody has been notified. The other thing, the planters on Kinsman, it took a lot of money when Zach Reed was there to put those bricks along the sidewalks and those planters. If trees have died, we have three things we could do. We can replace the trees, we can plant flowers, or we can put down mulch. But the way they look is terrible. Why do we have to live with grass growing out of concrete? Nobody's paying attention. The other thing is, I know we have a rainy day fund, and I don't know all the details, but in Mount Pleasant, we're experiencing a flood. So we need monies put in our community that was promised to us when the last election was here, and it has not been done. The other thing, email sending is not citizen concern resolution. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Lenore Kalam from Parma to talk about St. Vincent's Charity Hospital and representing the Black and White Party and not being paid by anyone. Laura, you have the floor.
Hello. This is called One Little Chance. The subject of this speech is to bring babies from Gaza and save St. Vincent Charity Hospital from demolition. It's already in the process of being demolished. So what I want to say to you is that there is a great sadness in me that we could not join together in a work of love and further the mission of the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine, trying to keep St. Vincent Charity Hospital open to rescue and treat the babies of Gaza from almost certain death. Maybe you are concerned with your own wards, but nobody even tried. I am glad to announce we found a priest in the Vatican who wants to help us, but he wants to go through channels, and by the time he gets to the Pope, by Monday, he said, it will be too late. I'd like to tell you a little about these people who are being bombed so mercilessly. Because of the limitation of time, I will share only one experience. There were others. We were in Jerusalem in the Old City. A wind and rainstorm came up, and we were out in it. Two young boys passed us. A little while later, they came back and invited us into their home. Everyone in that big family retreated to the back of their house, and they provided their front room to us and asked us to stay overnight, would anyone here do the same thing? Isaiah 58:7 says, bringing the afflicted and homeless into your house. We could not extend one small act of kindness to them, trying to save a hospital to help the most vulnerable among them. It could have gone a long way in preventing the great war we are moving toward. The revelation was certain, a great war.
Thank you. Next, we have Terry Wong from Tremont to talk about the Police Commission and Public Safety, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and fellow citizens. I'm former Community Police Commissioner Terry Wong. I just want to briefly dispel what Ms. Bickerstaff has just said. The Charter 115.5 is explicitly clear that no officers with previous discipline, adjudicated or not, like Sergeant Richard Jackson, can be on the commission. And frankly, I don't know of any independent civilian oversight board for police in the nation that has police officers on the commission, and we currently have two. The philosopher Plato once said, good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. For months, I've appeared before this council, not out of routine, but because the public deserves to know how the Community Police Commission, created by a Democratic vote to be independent and transparent, has been systematically dismantled by the city and its allies through corruption and calculated lawlessness. 2 weeks ago, that independence, the most essential requirement of the commission, was violated once again. New commissioners, appointed through a flawed and unlawful process, voted to install Mr. Alex Noureddin as the interim executive director. Mr. Noureddin had recently served as an assistant director of law under Mark Griffin. The conflict of interest isn't theoretical, it's now fully operational. The law department now effectively controls the independent commission, along with the Civilian Police Review Board and the Office of Professional Standards. The fox doesn't just guard the hen house, it writes the rules and determines police discipline. This is the opposite of what the voters demanded. And when I exposed this truth, I was targeted. Officers from the 3rd District, working with the commission, issued criminal trespass citations to me and a homeless woman for speaking during a public meeting. Our only offense was whistleblowing and exercising First Amendment rights. These defective citations were dismissed, but not before Griffin used public funds to hire a special prosecutor to further investigate me. Meanwhile, a smear campaign against me involving city officials continues. Councilman Stephanie House Jones publicly retaliated against me and called me a little girl after I exposed lies by her appointee, John Adams. Former Judge Mike Nelson, now a commissioner, falsely claimed I was fired by the mayor, mocked me on Facebook as a child and juvenile, and allowed his friend to call me in open racist terms an Asian heckler. These are the people you have chosen. This is the culture you have enabled. Truth tellers attacked, loyalists rewarded, whistleblowers criminalized. Too many of you sitting in front of us wait for lawsuits before doing the right thing. That's why when I walk Cleveland's wards and talk to people, residents often call you criminals and mobsters, not public servants. And I want to also note that—
Time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Mark Thomas. Mark Thomas is from West Park to talk about public safety, police, and the prosecutor's office, not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone.
Hello, Cleveland, and hello, world. For God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And I don't need to read that to know that in my life. From the recent events that have happened in Cleveland, my heart goes out to everyone that's lost someone from gun violence and has suffered from gun violence. My name is Mark, and I'm here today demanding justice for myself and Kelly. Justice for Mark and Kelly. A homeowner in West Park who survived 18 years of harassment and most recently a near-deadly assault by our predatory neighbors. I am a gunshot victim. Recently, I was shot in the back by one of 6 individuals who attacked us, and not a single person was indicted. During grand jury proceedings, the county prosecutor never ever mentioned Kelly or the long-term standing abuse she faced. Instead, they sent a detective to search my car, trying to fabricate a reason to say I had a weapon. I did not. When I was the one shot, that search was unconstitutional, unethical, and intentionally misleading. Our victim advocates didn't advocate for us. The process was rigged from the start. The city prosecutor, the county prosecutor, and certain police officers worked together to bury the truth. They never presented evidence of stalking, harassment, or the racial and gender bias behind the attacks. This is not just misconduct. This is a deliberate miscarriage of justice. 1st District Commander Woods has even been seen socializing with our attackers, planning ways to intimidate us at community meetings. In Cleveland, when you've been wrong, they either destroy your character or corrupt the process to silence you. The people who swore oaths to serve the public have turned into protectors of abusers, and the system is no longer constitutional. It's inhumane. Kelly's only crime was being a woman others were jealous of. She was targeted simply for existing in her own home. The men who stalked and terrorized her have faced 0 consequences. I now live with permanent injury, taking over a dozen pills a day just to stay alive and healthy and well, while the people who tried to kill me walk free. I demand a public meeting with the Safety Committee and the Mayor's Appointment Committee. I demand a full investigation. I demand resignations and removals of the prosecutors who allowed this case to collapse, specifically the city prosecutor and the county prosecutor. To those listening in power in the world, this isn't just about Mark and Kelly. This is about every family destroyed by a justice system that protects aggressors and punishes survivors. Hear our cry for help. Hear our truth. And take action. And please help us. Peace out.
Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 701-2025 from Executive Director Elizabeth Biggins Raymer, Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. Information for council ratification of Cuyahoga County Solid Waste Management Plan Update. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 702-2025, regarding a transfer of license application at 2442 Professor Avenue, Ward 3.
Thank you. Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Starr for Buster James Smith, by Councilmember Griffin for Reverend Hardin Murphy Martin Sr., by Councilmember Gray for Victoria Vance, by Councilmember Jones for Nathan Nix, by Councilmember Gray for Gary Griffin, by Councilmember Jones for Pastor Kelvin S. Blake Sr., by Councilmember Griffin for Beth Ann Heron, by Councilmember Griffin for Latrice Hughley Woodley, by Councilmember Conwell for Donna Marie Nichols, by Councilmember Starr for Opal Hardaway, by Councilmember Griffin for John Jack Boyle, by Councilmember Griffin for John Carney.
Are there any other condolence resolutions? Will council members please rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember Kelly for Bard High School Early College, by Councilmember House Jones for Pastor Rufus Webb and First Lady Elfrida Webb, by Councilmembers Slife and McCormack for St. Ignatius High School Rugby Team National Championship, by Councilmembers Slife and Casey for Karen Cochita, by Councilmember Santana for Sammy DeVito, by resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Jones for Valerie Webb, by Valeria Webb, by Councilmember House Jones for East High School 60th class reunion, by Councilmember Santana for Dr. Julius Aponte, MD, FACP, by Councilmember Jones for Alicia Kirkman, by Councilmember Jones for the Angelo Miller Foundation. Resolutions of welcome by Councilmember Santana for Mayor Luigi Torres Ortiz.
Thank you. We'll move to presentations. I believe we have two. I'll bring up Councilman Joe Jones from Ward 1. If we can open up the well for his guests, and if he can call his guests, and they can join to the right of me. Angelo Miller Foundation, Miss Alicia Kirkman. And is it anybody else that is joining? Microphone needs to be here. Here you go. Thank you. You guys can fill in around us as well, if you'd like to. Watch that cord. Okay. So you don't fall. Be careful of that. Family, if you guys all want to fill in around, please fill in. Come on, fill in. It's whatever you want to. House to the back. Anybody want to come? I might have to get my glasses. Okay.
You know, it's always good to take the opportunity to recognize people who are constantly, often engaged in the community and helping to make the difference in people's lives. That's what it's really all about at the end of the day. How well do we serve? The members of Cleveland City Council are proud and pleased to recognize the Angelo Miller Foundation for its unwavering dedication to families in crisis and its transformative commitment to the youth of Cleveland. And whereas Angelo Miller Foundation, 501c nonprofit organization, was founded by Alicia Kirkman in loving memory of her son, Angelo Miller, who was tragically killed at the age of 17 in 2007. From personal tragedy, Alicia has created a legacy of healing, hope, and advocacy that touches countless lives across the greater Cleveland community. And whereas the foundation's mission is grounded in compassion, support, empowerment, it often aids families suffering from devastating loss of loved ones, providing financial assistance for funeral and living expenses, while also creating a healing space such as monthly brunches for grieving parents who have lost children to police violence and gun violence. These gatherings serve as a refuge where sorrow is shared and strength is restored. And whereas the Angelo Miller Foundation is equally devoted to building strong futures for Cleveland's youth, its programming is rooted in the belief that young people must be given opportunities to thrive in every area of their life, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and economically. And through visual arts, the foundation encourages creative expression and critical thinking. Through its health and wellness initiatives, it teaches youth to care for their bodies and minds, understanding that prevention and awareness are key to lifelong health. And whereas the foundation's culinary arts programming provides practical skills that help youth nourish themselves and their families, fostering both independent connection educational efforts around knowing one's rights. Equip young people with the knowledge of the legal system, building confidence and encouraging wise decision-making. Workforce readiness programs prepare youth to enter the job market with purpose, tools, and directions. And through cultivation of leadership, the foundation models values of discipline, equity, communications, and justice, offering young people as an example of what it means to lead with integrity and vision. Whereas the Angelo Foundation is more than an organization, it is a sanctuary, a movement, a powerful reminder that even in the wake of loss, hope can be born. Through its work, the foundation enriches the lives of families, uplifts youths, and helps restore communities. It keeps alive the spirit of Angelo Miller, by turning grief into purpose and pain into progress. Now therefore be it resolved that Cleveland City Council recognizes and honors the Angelo Miller Foundation and its founder, Alicia Kirkman, for their tireless commitment, compassion, and enduring service to the citizens of the city of Cleveland. Thank you. Who's the second? Go ahead, hold it up. I'll hold it for you.
You hold it, okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Joe Jones, so much. My name is Alicia Kirkman, the founder of the Angelo Miller Foundation. I have Shaquille McMichael, the president, and I have my whole team and my family with me on tonight. Well, not everybody, but some. The Angelo Miller Foundation, we are deeply honored and thankful to receive this recognition from Joe Jones. This acknowledgement is not just for me, but for every family and community member we serve. We are truly grateful for the support. At the Angelo Miller Foundation, we are committed to doing meaningful things, work that uplifts and empowers our community, whether it's through advocating for reform, accountability, feeding families, hosting our annual Christmas giveaway, supporting youth through our after-school program, working alongside with Citizens for a Safer Cleveland, that I was one of the creators for that. Just creating so much. This work is personal and it's rooted in the memory of Angelo. In the fight for justice, we will continue to stand strong, speak out, and serve with compassion and commitment. Thank you again, Mr. Jacob. Thank you.
Kev, you ought to get on up here. Is that it? Please. Citizens for Safer Cleveland.
All right, we have, do you have another one?
Yep. Well, we got two more.
Councilman. All right, we could open up the well for, Councilman Jones has another guest, another couple of guests.
Let me see that piece of paper. Citizens for Safer Cleveland, can you come on in the well? Oh, you're not. Brenda Bickerstaff. Where's Jennifer Brink? You want to talk about it? Hold on, just time.
Okay, here's for Jennifer.
No, this is Jennifer's.
Okay, this is
Where's Kareem? Alicia Kirkman. William.
You don't stand in the front, stand in the back.
You know, it's not often that we see normal citizens taking civic action, committed and dedicated to working feverishly to put a ballot initiative on, and then at the end of the day to win it for accountability. And I just want to take the opportunity to recognize Citizens for Safer Cleveland. Whereas the members of Cleveland City Council are extremely pleased to recognize and honor Citizens for Safer Cleveland, a steadfast community advocacy group formed by residents with a shared vision for safer and a more just Cleveland, with unwavering commitment to police reform and enhanced community safety. And whereas the Citizens for Safer Cleveland is comprised of a diverse network of organizations and individuals united in their mission to ensure, through independent investigation into police misconduct, thus advancing transformative and systematic change in public safety practices. And whereas the coalition is dedicated to the principles of community oversight and engagement, advocating for meaningful citizen input in the oversight of law enforcement, while championing reforms that reflect the values, dignity, and voice of Cleveland residents. The work of Citizens for a Safer Cleveland serves as a beacon of hope, resilience, and moral clarity, reminding all citizens and institutions of the critical need to center humanity, justice, and accountability in the pursuit of public safety. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cleveland City Council hereby recognize and honor Citizens for a Safer Cleveland for their leadership, their advocacy, and outstanding contributions to advancing police reform and community safety in the city of Cleveland. This council applauds the coalition and its members for their tireless work and unshakable commitment to justice, and encourage all Clevelanders to support, uplift the efforts to build a safer and more equitable future for all. Thank you. So I can hold you. Give me the thing.
Okay. 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 Hello, everybody. Our president here, Latanya Goldsby, is our president. I'm the founder, along with Alicia Kirkman, Samaria Rice, and Jennifer Blakely, and Kareem Hinton. This was not easy to do. 4 black women. I lost my brother, she lost her cousin, and Alicia lost her son, and Samaria lost her son. This was not easy to put together. And I'm here to tell you, we're gonna challenge anybody that's coming up against it. Especially when they talk about a repeal. You got a dog fight on your hands. And guess what? We're gonna win that one too. And at the end of the day, there were 2 people that tried to reform this department. That was Elliot Ness and it was Carl Stokes, and it didn't work. And at the end of the day, we're not here as an enemy against the police. We're just saying be fair. Just be fair. Councilman Casey, be fair. Be fair on both sides, not just one side. And I cease my speech and I'll let the president speak.
Come on, Madam President.
Thank you. Citizens for a Safer Cleveland is a community advocacy group comprised of residents advocating for police reform and enhanced community safety. Our coalition is led by families, specifically 4 black women who have experienced the loss of a loved one due to police violence. We are committed to implementing transformative accountability, measures that guarantee thorough and independent investigations into police misconduct.
Made up of various organizations and individuals, our coalition aims to strengthen community oversight of the police and promote safety for all residents. The charter ensures officers are held accountable for their actions rather than receiving minimal consequences or paid leave. Charter 115 empowers the community to shape the police force we want to oversee in our neighborhoods. It is a national model that grants citizens comprehensive oversight. Over 15,000 Cleveland residents signed their names and placed Issue 24, Charter 115, on the ballot. 32,875 Cleveland residents voted in favor of the charter. It passed with 59.61% of the vote. We hold the power to define what makes us safe. We want independency, not consolidation. Thank you.
All right. You got to take your photo. Come on over, Ms. President, Madam President.
Hey, man, do me a favor.
Black Lives Matter. Mr. Chairman, the last presentation I have is for Black Lives Matter. Can Black Lives Matter come on down? Is Jennifer Lumpkin here? Christopher McNeil? Okay. So who's the highest intelligent officer?
I am, President.
Where's the mic?
Bear with me, technical difficulty. Testing 1, 2, 3. Whereas the members of Cleveland City Council proudly recognizes the Black Lives Matter organization unwavering commitment to the fight for racial justice and equality. We honor the voices and lives of those too often silenced by systematic racism, discrimination, and injustice. And whereas Black Lives Matter's organization emerged as both a rallying cry and a beacon of hope in response to the tragic and unjust loss of Black lives across the nation, it stands as a testament to the enduring call for justice, bearing names we must never forget: Tamir Rice, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and countless others whose lives were cut short. What began as a grassroots response has grown into a powerful movement, advocating for accountability, transformative change, and collective healing. And whereas through protest, policy, advocacy, education, and community engagement, Black Lives Matter has inspired a renewed sense of civic responsibility and moral urgency, urging institutions at every level to confront the legacies of systematic oppression and to act boldly in the pursuit of equity and justice. And whereas the movement has created a safe, inclusive spaces for Black voices, joy, and resilience to thrive, and has reminded the nation and the world that the fight for justice is not only necessary, it is sacred. And whereas the face of adversity, backlash, and misunderstanding, the leaders, organizers, and supporters of Black Lives Matter have continued to demonstrate profound courage, resolve, and love for their communities, helping to shape a new generation of activists committed to building a more and just, compassionate society. And whereas Cleveland's own community has been deeply affected by the issues of Black Lives Matter, seeks to address and has also deeply uplifted by its message, with local chapters, leaders, and allies working tirelessly to create real, lasting change in our community and beyond. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Cleveland City Council hereby recognizes, commends, and expresses its heartfelt appreciation for the Black Lives Matter organization for its unwavering commitment to justice, its transformational impact on civil rights, and its role in shaping a more and equitable, compassionate society for generations to come. Congratulations. You want to say something?
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council, fellow members of the community. My name is LaTanya Goldsby, President of Black Lives Matter Cleveland. I want to begin by saying thank you. It is always an honor and privilege to be recognized and acknowledged for the hard work and dedication. On behalf of the Board of Black Lives Matter Cleveland, we extend our gratitude to the members of the council for standing on the right side of justice. As the president of BLM Cleveland, I'm often asked the question of what does BLM do? My response to that is that it is more than what you see and hear in the media. Black Lives Matter Cleveland is an autonomous, locally run, and independent Black-led organization that has been serving our community through racial justice action, organizing, and mutual aid since 2015. I am so proud of my board and the team of Black Lives Matter Cleveland. Our chapter emerged from a movement for justice that began with the rallying cries of "I can't breathe" and "Hands up, don't shoot." However, at Black Lives Matter Cleveland, we started to consider the ways in which our communities were suffocating. Whether it be from police violence, gun violence, poverty, the lack of access to stable housing, whatever the need may be, we envisioned BLM Cleveland being a resource to our community. Since our establishment, BLM Cleveland has partnered with various grassroots organizations in Cleveland. We have formed multiple coalitions to combat the injustices affecting our communities. In various formations, we have conducted numerous campaigns that has fostered strong relationships and strengthened ties within our communities. We are partners and board members of Citizens for a Safer Cleveland. We are founding members of the Stop the Inhumanity at the County Jail Coalition, effectively known as JailCo. We have saved the health of residents, jail detainees, and jail employees from the toxic site from the jail by canvassing and doing research on the proposed area. We are partners in the Cleveland Pandemic Response Coalition, a community mutual aid collaboration. We have assisted the municipalities of Beechwood with their collective bargaining agreement. We have contributed policy recommendations to the Cleveland Division of the Police through the CPOP program. As the president of Black Lives Matter Cleveland, I served as a member of the mayor's transition team on the Public Safety Task Force. We've advocated for years for the right to make public comments in City Council for all residents. In 2022, we began hosting an annual Midwest Hood to Hood Summit to address gun violence and mental health in our communities, focusing on youth and their families, as well as community stakeholders who work in mental health field and juvenile justice. We've supported and informed political candidates and incumbents on issues faced by those most ignored in Cleveland. We've helped provide and promote effective protest, direct action as a blueprint for others here in Cleveland, not focused on violence or self-enrichment. We have helped families with funeral arrangements for their loved ones killed by police and gun violence in our communities. We have helped families make ends meet by providing rental assistance, groceries, transportation, and covering the cost of medical prescriptions for individuals who cannot afford to pay for their health care needs. We have secured temporary and safe housing for victims of domestic violence. We have conducted numerous mutual aid drops at the men's and women's shelters in Cleveland. We have hosted curated art shows at our office space to highlight the work of local Black artists. And as a service to our community partners, we serve as a fiscal sponsors for groups and organizations that do not have a 501c3 status. None of this would have been possible without the leadership and dedication of my board members, Kareem Hinton, Dio Olowu, Jennifer Lumpkin, and Christopher McNeil. Thank you for trusting and believing in my ability to lead this organization. To the numerous community members and supporters, we extend our gratitude to your ongoing support of our work and leadership. And we would like to send a special shout out to our amazing funders who have helped sustain the vision and the work that BLM Cleveland has achieved over the past 10 years. We will be celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year.
That's good. That's good.
The United Black Fund, the Cleveland Foundation, the George Gunn Foundation, Borealis Philanthropy, Communities Transforming Policing Fund, the Black-Led Movement Fund, Movement for Black Lives, the Adams Board, the Black Futures Fund, Woodruff Foundation, HealthComp, the Resist Movement Bank, Neighborhood Safety Fund, Neighbor Up, Ohio Transformation Fund, the Center for Community Solutions, and countless individual donors. We thank all of you for your unwavering support and commitment to the work that Black Lives Matter Cleveland has done and will continue to serve as an overseer for justice and accountability. And we must remember, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other, and we have nothing to lose but our chains. Ashe.
That's right. Let's give her another big, great round of applause. There we go.
You got another one, Joe?
No, that's, we done. He got, that's everybody. Conwell, we ain't staying the night in here tonight. Joe, is that it?
Great
Okay,
job. Great
can we
job.
open up the, get Conwell, Councilman Conwell's guest?
Don't go too far. We're gonna,
Councilman Conwell has a presentation. If we can open up the well for Councilman Conwell's guest. I'm going to ask, we have a very long agenda. If
we'll be brief.
Make sure that we keep it brief. Thank you.
Yeah.
If we could bring in his guest, Councilman Conwell's guest.
This one is about Louis Moore, Mike Polisic, Kevin Bishop, Anthony Harrison. Oh yeah, when you get finished, hold the door. Everybody coming up for Louis Moore. Louis is a man's man. He practiced manhood a lot. When we have meetings in the community, Louis Moore, come on up here. I know you push your grandfatherhood, and that's an important thing to do that. Grandfathers make good fathers. And bring up your people too. Hey Louis, bring up your whole people, man.
That's right.
I told him that too. I said, Louis, he gonna take the picture while you were up here.
He got his photographer right there.
This man does more than take pictures. A lot of people think about pictures, but when we're talking about, I want people to hear this, injustice in the community and in the back room and the meetings, he's not there just taking pictures. He's there helping out and giving advice and talking with a lot of the key leaders in the city and the county, giving back and doing man's work. Also, I like that grandfatherhood you put together. Grandfathers make great fathers, and that's very, very important. So I want to read this here. You mentioned a lot of music. I didn't know you was with Stevie Wonder, man. I didn't know you do Stevie Wonder thing. Man, you disappeared, yeah.
Michael Jackson too?
You did Michael Jackson also, man. You didn't even tell me none of that stuff.
And Janet Jackson.
Yeah, and Janet Jackson. Well, the members of Cleveland City Council are sincerely proud and pleased to acknowledge and honor you, Louis Moore, the lifelong contribution of Louis Moore, whose tirelessly effort, creativity, and commitment to community engagement have enriched culture, civic, and social fabric of the city of Cleveland. Louis Moore is a proud graduate. I can skip that school. You should have been Glenville, but it's East Tech High School and Case Western Reserve University, where his early experience in education ignited a passion to performance promotion, civic outreach, first inspired his Miss Jane Valier fifth grade play, The Sons and Daughters of Democracy, which introduced Louis to the power of storytelling and advocacy. Whereas from those early years, Louis developed a love for organizing events and bringing people together. He was influenced by imaginative energy of the Little Rascals, man, and a little remarkable mentors like Ernest Ross. Yeah, Miss Ross, who guided Louis during his time at, you got East Tech here again, East Tech, teaching him the essentials of directing, promoting, marketing, branding effects across Cleveland. And whereas, while at Case Western Reserve University, Louis continued producing culture events. And he also introduced celebrity appearance to campus programming, demonstrating his natural talent for entertainment, promotion, and community engagement. Louis' path led him to WABQ Radio, where he met Ernest James, Sam Knight, Bob Davis of KDJ Productions. Under his guidance, Louis learned the trade of concert promotion, working with legends like Ken Hawkins and Chuck Conway, and mastering grassroots promotion, mobile marketing, and audience building across Cleveland. And through his early years, founding the Brick City Production, named to honor growing up in the projects, Louis went on to promote and co-promote some of the most iconic artists in the R&B history, including Stevie Wonder, the OJs, Isaac Hayes, Gladys Knight, Eddie Kendricks, Parliament Funkadelic, the P-Funk, and the Jackson 5, becoming a trusted name in Cleveland's entertainment scene. I remember you back there doing that too. I do remember, but you ain't telling about Stevie. Beyond his role in entertainment, Louis has always held roles of deep civic purpose, serving as a juvenile probation officer, adult probation officer, parole officer, counselor, social worker, and currently the community ambassador with Ohio Means Jobs and United Labor Agency. Consistency. Then it go on and on and on and on and on and on. You did a lot. Matter of fact, you will be honored by the NAACP for a lot of your work of giving back to the community. When you look at Louis Moore, he reminds me of, in the book of Matthew, where they talk about he doesn't go out and promote himself at all. He's always there helping in the community, giving back to the community. As we say, actions speak louder than words. I'll yield to you, Louis Moore.
Louis Moore. All right, Louis Moore.
Wow. All I can say is thank you for this.
Now you cool beans, Miss, for all the council, man.
Thank all of you. Thank everyone for this recognition. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for this recognition. I've just do what I do, and I've done what I do because of my early being around a lot of former people who sit in some of these seats that some of you guys sit in now, and then former council presidents up there. I learned a lot. They taught me how to be. They taught me how not to be. Give me good direction, great direction. And when I assist others on their projects or whatever, that's all I try to do. Like, I don't need fanfare. I had enough fanfare early in my career in life, even though I'm still only 39. But my biggest project that everyone pretty much knows now is our event called Grandparents Family Day, honoring grandparents and grandchildren. Councilman Conwell started this back with me when we first started when Wade over Wednesdays was starting up. We started up there. And then I just always wanted to be back near Luke Easter Park, and that's where we've been. We do it every year. As a matter of fact, this is our 10th anniversary this year also, too. Saturday, September the 20th, and all you councilmen, please support and come and enjoy. Let all your residents know, and then go from there. But thank y'all so much.
Congratulations.
So much.
Joe,
Oh, wait a minute.
Take a picture. Take the picture.
Give him his reward. So
He got it right there. His granddaughter. Here you go.
Have the
Here, let me
put the
move this-
granddaughter
let me
in the
move this out
middle.
the way. Take the picture, and then we can start. Councilman. All right, we good? All right, thanks, everybody. Madam Clerk, first reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 703, 2025, by Council Members Santana, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to accept a donation from the Cleveland Cavaliers of the installation of court service murals and court game lines with project sponsor logos at 2 basketball courts located at Trent Park. Ordinance 704, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 630.01 of the codified ordinances relating to criminal activity nuisances declared. Ordinance 706, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 171.57 of the codified ordinances relating to military service leave of absence and benefits during service. Ordinance 707, 2025, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 241.02 of the codified ordinances relating to enforcement and inspection of food shops. Ordinance 709, 2025, by Council Members Casey, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to request Cuyahoga County to include items not eligible for federal funds in the resurfacing of West 140th Street from Curitis to Lakewood Heights Boulevard, and to cause payment for the city's share. Ordinance 710, 2025, by Councilmember Conwell, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, related to idle reduction. Ordinance 711, 2025, by Councilmembers Bishop, Hairston, McCormack, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing directors of city planning, capital projects, and public works to apply for and accept grants from the Ohio Department of Transportation for the implementation of the Multimodal Transportation Cleveland Moves Plan, authorizing directors of city planning, capital projects, and public works or appropriate director to enter into contracts to implement the grants, determine the method of making the public improvements of constructing safety and multimodal improvements on several roadway segments, and authorizing contracts. Authorizing Commissioner purchases and supplies to acquire, accept, and record real property and easements that are necessary for the improvement, and authorizing other agreements. Ordinance 712, 2025, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to apply for and accept a grant from Ohio and Erie Canal Association for the Strategic Initiatives Grant for the improvements at Clark Field. Ordinance 713, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services for fiscal year 2024 Ohio Drug Law Enforcement Fund grant for the operation of the Cartel Gang Narcotics and Laundering Task Force, authorizing the director to enter into agreements with Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office and other entities to implement the grant. Ordinance 714-2025 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, approving the 2026 to 2040 Cuyahoga County Solid Waste Management Plan update for Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. Ordinance 715-2025 by Council Members Starr, House Jones, and Hairston, appropriating funds obtained from Cleveland casino revenues for use by Cleveland City Council for projects properly benefiting the public and adopting new protocols for use of such funds. Ordinance 716-2025 by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into one or more contracts with The Ohio State University for the purpose of implementing the soil lead testing and mitigation components for the 2025 Summer Sprouts Community Gardening Program. Ordinance 717-2025 by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Weston CMG JV LLC to encroach into the public right-of-way of East Prospect Avenue by installing and maintaining Record Rendezvous Ohio historical marker that is mounted on a pole with a foundation. Ordinance 718-2025 by Council Members Slife, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to the Boards of Park Commissioners of Cleveland Metropolitan Park District to encroach into the public rights-of-way of Old Lorraine Road and River Edge Road by installing, using, and maintaining a 10-foot wide asphalt multi-purpose trail. Ordinance 719-2025 by Council Members Santana, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Northeast Ohio Hispanic Center for Economic Development to encroach into the public right-of-way of West 25th Street by installing, using, and maintaining bollards along the building frontage. Ordinance 720-2025 by Council Members Starr and Hairston to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio relating to the creation of the Cleveland Commission on Black Males. Ordinance 721-2025 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to execute various deeds of easement and various temporary deeds of easement, granting to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District certain easement rights at several city-owned properties located near Horseshoe Lake Park in the cities of Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights, and declaring the easement rights not needed for the city's public purpose. Ordinance 722-2025 by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to enter into contract with Ohio Department of Health to perform investigations of violations regarding smoking in workplaces and other public places. Ordinance 723-2025 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing, installing, and constructing various energy conservation methods or measures at the city's Division of Police district facilities, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into one or more guaranteed energy-saving performance contracts for a guaranteed maximum price with Lepardo Energy for the making of the improvement, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into one or more maintenance agreements for the improvements, authorizing Director of Finance to enter into one or more installment payment contracts and loan contracts to finance the improvements, and authorizing other documents. Ordinance 724, 2025, by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of repairing specific brick roadways from any and all funds as authorized by the Director of Finance, authorizing the Director of Mayor's Office of Capital Projects to enter into one or more public improvement contracts for the making of the improvement, authorizing the Director to apply for and accept any gifts or grants, and authorizing any related agreements. Ordinance 725, 2025, by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into agreement with Cleveland Browns Stadium, LLC, to reimburse the Cleveland Browns for the emergency repair made to Huntington Bank Field performed by the Cleveland Browns. Ordinance 745, 2025, by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 1122, 2024, relating to the purchase, lease, or lease with option to purchase of various on-road vehicles, apparatus, and off-road equipment, cabs, bodies, and accessories, equipment, and other aftermarket items for the various divisions of city government. Is this a continuation?
First reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 705, 2025, by council members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, to amend various sections and supplement Ordinance 1253, 2019, relating to being a co-applicant and co-grantee with the Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority to accept HUD funding. Ordinance 708, 2025, by council members Slife, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 808, 2024, relating to applying for and accepting a Nature Works grant from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to make improvements to Impet Park. Ordinance 727, 2025, by Councilmember House Jones, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into one or more agreements with East 66th Street Services to implement a pilot community-based initiative for Ward 7. Ordinance 728, 2025, by Councilmembers Santana and McCormack, authorizing the Director of and directing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into a concession agreement with Jardine for Life, for use of the concession area at Roberto Clemente Park to operate a concession stand to provide food and refreshments to the public during park activities. Ordinance 729, 2025, by Councilmember Conwell, authorizing the Director of the Department of Public Health to enter into agreement with Cleveland Minority Organ Tissue Transplant Education Program for the purpose of providing youth education programming through the use of Ward 9 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 730, 2025, by Councilmember Hairston, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Health to enter into agreement with Northern Ohio Recovery Association for treatment and prevention programs through the use of Ward 10 discretionary funds. Ordinance 738, 2025, by Councilmembers Starr, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and commissioner purchases and supplies to sell city-owned property no longer needed for the city's public use located at 5701 Carnegie Avenue and known as the Warner Swayze Building to Penrose Holdings, LLC, or its designee for the purpose of affordable housing and commercial development, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a forgivable or non-forgivable loan agreement with Penrose Holdings to provide assistance to partially finance the redevelopment of the Warner Swayze and other associated costs necessary to redevelop the property. Ordinance 739, 2025, by Councilmembers McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request to amend Ordinance 42, 2025, relating to the interdepartmental property transfer for 4242 Lorraine Avenue and sale or ground lease of the property to Penrose Holdings or its designee. Ordinance 740, 2025, by council members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Community Development to amend a contract between the city and Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation to provide additional funding for the program. Ordinance 741, 2025, by council members Starr, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into a grant agreement with Northern Ohio Recovery Association to provide assistance to partially finance the development of the Nora Village project. Ordinance 742, 2025, by council members Starr, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into a loan agreement with Penrose Holdings to provide assistance to partially finance the redevelopment of the Warner Swayze building located at 5701 Carnegie and other associated costs necessary to redevelop the property. Ordinance 743, 2025, by council members Starr, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request to repeal Ordinance 1294, 2023, relating to a grant agreement with Midtown Cleveland to partially finance redevelopment of a portion of Warner Swayze building into affordable senior and family housing units. Ordinance 744, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to amend sections 33 and 35 of Ordinance 194, 2021, relating to compensation for various classifications. Ordinance 746, 2025, by Councilmembers Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Aging to conduct the age-friendly home investment program and to enter into one or more agreements with up to 3 organizations to develop, operate, and implement a comprehensive home repair and investment program targeted at eligible Cleveland seniors and adults with disabilities, exercisable by the Director of Aging.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 13 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 13 yeas.
Thank you. First reading of ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 726, 2025 by Mayor Bibb to amend sections 352.01, 13, 401.34, 457.01 to 04, 457.09 to 12, and 457.99 of the codified ordinances as amended by various ordinances, to supplement the codified ordinances by enacting new sections 457.991 and to repeal section 457.05, all relating to public garages and parking lots.
First reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 731, 2025, by Councilmember Jones, withdrawing objection to a new D1 liquor permit at 4680 Lee Road and repealing Resolution 14, 2025, objecting to said permit. Resolution 732, 2025, by Councilmember House Jones, objecting to a new D3A liquor permit at 3232 Lakeside Avenue. Resolution 733, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin, appointing one member of the Civilian Police Review Board. Resolution 734, 2025, by Councilmembers Spencer, McCormack, and Maurer, declaring June 2025 as Pride Month in the city of Cleveland to provide an opportunity for our residents to celebrate the contributions of the LGBTQI+ community and to learn about the discrimination and inequality that that community has experienced and continues to experience. Resolution 735, 2025, by Council Members Spencer, House Jones, Morrow, Gray, and Jones, supporting the City of Cleveland's 2025 Climate Action Plan update. Resolution 736, 2025, by Mayor Bibb, declaring June 30th, 2025 as Carl B. Stokes Day in the City of Cleveland and thereafter on June 30th annually. Resolution 737, 2025, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, Griffin, House Jones, and Starr, by departmental request, approving the creation of the Downtown Cleveland Improvement District as a special improvement district in the city, accepting petitions from the owners of properties in the district, approving the amended Articles of Incorporation of the Downtown Cleveland Improvement Corporation, approving a new plan for public services, declaring it necessary to provide maintenance, security, marketing, and other services for the district, authorizing the Director of City Planning to enter into contract with Downtown Cleveland Improvement Corporation and declaring as an emergency. Resolution 747, 2025, by Councilmember Jones, withdrawing objection to the transfer of location of a D5 liquor permit at 14201 Harvard Avenue and repealing Resolution 16, 2025, objecting to said permit. Resolution 748, 2025, by Councilmember Casey, opposing the State of Ohio's proposed $600 million investment toward a new Cleveland Browns Stadium in Brook Park and encouraging the State of Ohio to instead invest $350 million toward renovating the current Cleveland Browns Stadium, urging the Cleveland Browns to remain at their current stadium on the lakefront.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 13 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 13 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1241, 2024, as amended by Councilmembers McCormack, Griffin, and Slife by departmental request, authorizing Director of Port Control to enter into an amended lease agreement with the IX Center or wholly owned subsidiary to extend the term of the lease for 49 years to change the leased premises and other changes to the original lease. Ordinance 496, 2025, as amended by Councilmembers Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into a project development agreement with the Board of Park Commissioners of Cleveland Metropolitan Park District regarding the design, construction, and use of 4 trail projects located within the City of Cleveland, to grant consent to Metro Parks to construct the improvements, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entities, to authorize Commissioner purchases and supplies to acquire and accept real property and easements, and causing payment of the city's share to the Metro Parks. Ordinance 499, 2025, by Council Members Spencer, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Shoreway Tower, LLC, to assist with the financing of Shoreway Tower project to be located at 1200 West 76th Street, to provide payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 549, 2025, as amended by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into an amendment to a contract with Osborne Engineering to provide additional services relating to North Coast Connector Project to the lakefront and other associated infrastructure. Ordinance 551, 2025, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Innovation and Technology or Director of Economic Development as appropriate to employ 1 or more professional consultants, computer software developers, or vendors or one or more firms of consultants, computer software developers, or vendors necessary for a customer relationship management software system and other related professional services for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Innovation and Technology or Director of Economic Development as appropriate, and to enter into various contracts to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 557, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Innovation and Technology to employ one or more consultants, computer software developers, or vendors necessary to implement various technology projects, services, and upgrades to existing systems under the 2025 ITS Capital Project Plan, other related professional services to implement the plan, and to enter into various contracts to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 561, 2025, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, approving the application to add certain parcels of real property to North Coast Waterfront New Community Authority District, and to amend the petition for establishment of the North Coast Waterfront New Community Authority as a new community authority and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 565, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services for fiscal year 25 Recovery Ohio Law Enforcement Grant Program to provide funding for the operation of the Cartel Gang Narcotics Laundering Task Force. Ordinance 566, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Assistant Director of Civil Service Commission to employ one or more professional consultants to develop, administer, and grade promotional examinations from the Division of Police and Fire, Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 569, 2025, by Council Members Conwell, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to Cleveland Public Library, MLK Branch, to encroach into the public right-of-way of Euclid Avenue by installing, using, and maintaining a freestanding monument sign. Ordinance 600, 2025, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Economic Development to amend an agreement with the Village of Highland Hills to expand territory in the development area to include the former House of Corrections located on Mill Creek Boulevard. Ordinance 601, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to authorize the Director of Innovation and Technology to enter into an amendment to a lease with Alto 55 Erie View to change the use of the space by the Department of Finance, Division of Assessments and Licenses, to the Department of Innovation and Technology. Ordinance 602, 2025, as amended, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Commission on Minority Health to continue operations of Cleveland Office on Minority Health, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with other agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Ordinance 604, 2025, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, determine the method of making public improvement of designing and constructing a surface parking facility at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvement. Ordinance 605, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Human Resources to enter into one or more contracts in order to administer and provide group medical, dental, prescription, vision, and life insurance coverage, medical reimbursement accounts, dependent care accounts, voluntary benefits, and other premium pass-through benefits under the IRS Code 125, and to stop loss coverage for City of Cleveland employees. Ordinance 607, 2025, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 551.112 of the codified ordinances relating to fees for dumpster and compactor rentals. Ordinance 612, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District to accept funding in support of the city's Environmental Crimes Task Force to secure training and equipment necessary to assist in combating illegal dumping. Ordinance 613, 2025, as amended, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Health for the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant Program. Ordinance 614, 2025, as amended, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to donate 3 sewer easements to the City of Garfield Heights for its sewer separation project at Crawford Park, and declaring the easement rights granted are not needed for public use. Ordinance 621, 2025, as amended, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing one or more transportation facilities, which includes but is not limited to parking garage structures, ground transportation center, and rapid transit station at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvement. Ordinance 622, 2025, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchases and supplies to sell certain city-owned property no longer needed for the city's public use located on Mill Creek Boulevard in Highland Hills for the purpose of industrial redevelopment. Ordinance 624, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Relations Board to enter into contract with Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Division, to conduct the 2025-26 Pre-Arrest Support Services Program, and to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to provide services necessary to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 625, 2025, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more professional consultants to provide program management services for a period of 2 years with two 3-year options to renew, exercisable through additional legislative authority. Ordinance 626, 2025, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more contracts of ambulance and 1 aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle, including related equipment and training for the Division of Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Ordinance 627, 2025, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to amend and add a subsidiary amount to a contract with Ozan Construction for increasing the number of restrooms and ancillary space at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Ordinance 632, 2025, by Council Members Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to administer the Community Engagement Healthy Home Initiative, to enter into one or more contracts with various community development corporations for the purpose of hiring community engagement specialists by neighborhood to improve the quality of life for residents and the city's housing stock, to enter into professional service contracts for the acquisition of software and training to conduct the initiative, and to make purchases of materials, equipment, supplies, and services needed to conduct the initiative. Ordinance 634, 2025, as amended, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency for the 2025 Recycle Ohio Grant, authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies to implement the program, authorizing one or more contracts for the purchase of materials, equipment, supplies, and services for the program, and enter into agreement with Keep America Beautiful to obtain certification in order to establish the Keep Cleveland Beautiful chapter. Ordinance 635, 2025, by Councilmembers House, Jones, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into one or more agreements with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and the Natural Areas Land Conservancy relating to co-sponsoring a grant with Natural Areas Land Conservancy for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to complete the Huff Community Green Space Project and to accept the donation to the Huff Community Green Space from the Natural Areas Land Conservancy for use as a dedicated city-operated park upon completion of the project. Ordinance 636, 2025, as amended by Councilmembers Conwell, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing recreational improvements to Rockefeller Park under the Back to Basics Citywide Infrastructure Improvement Program, including making site improvements and appurtenances, and authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more public improvement contracts, professional services, and other contracts to apply for, accept, and expend grants and gifts, and authorizing the direct employment of the necessary labor for the Department of Parks and Recreation and Office of Capital Projects. Ordinance 657, 2025, by Councilmembers McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Port Control to enter into an amendment to a lease agreement with Jets Postal Road to expand the leasehold territory at and near 6045 Postal Road. Ordinance 658, 2025, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Education for the 2025 Summer Food Service Program at Camp George Forbes, authorizing the purchase by requirement contracts of breakfast and lunches and of food products, beverages, and condiments, and paper products to implement the grant. And to implement the grant for the Department of Parks and Recreation, and authorizing the Director to contract with various nonprofit organizations for the implementation of the program. Ordinance 659, 2025, by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more standard and requirement contracts for the purchase, lease, or lease with option to purchase of various on-road vehicles, apparatus, and off-road equipment, cabs, bodies, and accessories, equipment, and other aftermarket items necessary to equip the vehicles authorized for their intended purposes, including vehicle rehabilitation, training, and inspection as needed for the Department of Public Works. Ordinance 666, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to apply for and participate in the Ohio Department of Medicaid Supplemental Payment Program pursuant to Section 5164.96 of the Ohio Revised Code during the state budget biennium beginning on July 1st, 2025, ending June 30th, 2027, and to amend the contract with Quick Med Claims to provide professional services necessary to support the city's application and implement the city's supplemental reimbursement program. Ordinance 671, 2025, by Councilmembers Polensek, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the County of Cuyahoga for the reconstruction of Neff Road from CSX Railroad Bridge to Bella Drive, and to apply for and accept an allocation of county motor vehicles license tax funds for the improvement, and authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into any relative agreement in making the improvement. Ordinance 672, 2025, by Council Members Harsh, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Mayor and the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to acquire and reconvey properties presently owned by Old Brooklyn Community Development Corporation, located at the intersection of Memphis and Pearl Road in Old Brooklyn, for the purpose of entering into a chain of title prior to the adoption of tax increment financing legislation authorized under Section 5709.41 of the Ohio Revised Code for the Memphis and Pearl Project.
I need all council members to stay in the well if I could. Your vote needs to count inside the well. Councilman Jones, if you could come into the well. If you could come, we need to have you at your seat for your vote to count. Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Okay. We got Councilman Polensek, then Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Clerk, would you please record me no on 1241-2024? That's the IX Center. And then on also ordinance number 549-2025. That is for the North Coast Connector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you. Please mark me as a recusal for 496-2025. Thank you.
Duly noted. Councilman Slife.
Please also mark me as a no on 549-25.
Thank you. Councilman Casey.
Please mark me a no on 1241-2024 and 549-2025.
Duly noted.
So noted.
All right. Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. On 1241-2024, 13 yeas, 2 nays. On 496-2025, 14 yeas, no nays, 1 recusal. On 549-2025, 12 yeas, 3 nays. On all others, 15 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. Second reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 663, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to adopt and declare a tax budget for the City of Cleveland for the year 2026 and to submit it to the County Budget Commission as required by state law, Chapter 5705 of the Revised Code. Resolution 669, 2025, as amended by Council Members Spencer, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, approving the creation of the Gordon Square Arts District, Cleveland Improvement District as Special Improvement District in the city, accepting petitions from owners of property in the district, approving a new plan for the public services, declaring it necessary to provide maintenance, security, marketing, and other services for the district, and providing for the assessment of the cost of such work upon benefited properties in the district, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Read a motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. Legislation to be tabled. Once again, this is legislation that was as far back as 2014, 2017, but legislation to be tabled.
Ordinance 534, 2021 by Council Members Casey and Kelly by departmental request to amend Section 531.051 of the Codified Ordinances relating to testing and monitoring programs and water bill credits. Ordinance 1039, 2021 by Councilmember Kelly by departmental request, authorizing Director of Finance to employ one or more professional consultants to assist in preparing requests for proposal to procure electricity and natural gas service for the city, for city facilities for up to 2 years with 2 one-year renewal options, to employ energy suppliers and/or development firms to supply natural gas and electricity to cities, for other related professional services and other agreements needed to implement the ordinance for a period up to 10 years. Ordinance 503, 2022 by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to sell city-owned property no longer needed for city's public use located on Green Road in the city of Beechwood to Beechwood Green for the purpose of commercial development. Ordinance 820, 2022, as amended by Council Members Bishop, Casey, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Works to accept a grant from Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council for the NOPEC Energized Community Grant Program for various energy efficiency and city facility improvement projects. Determine the method of making the public improvement of implementing the projects, and authorizing one or more standard requirement professional services or other contracts or agreements needed to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 96, 2023 by Mayor Bibb and Council Members House, Moorer, Spencer, and Gray, directing a portion of the city's coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund payment to respond to the public health emergency or its negative economic impacts for providing various implementation costs under a pilot participatory budgeting program intended to engage historically underrepresented and marginalized communities in further selection and funding of projects within and by the city, and authorizing contracts for such implementation expenditures to be encumbered March 3, 2021 and ending December 31, 2024. Ordinance 220, 2023 as amended by Councilmember McCormack, changing the use area and height districts of parcels of land north of University Road between I-90 East and West 3rd Street. Ordinance 521, 2023 by Councilmembers Hairston and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Community Development to enter into an agreement with Landed, Inc. to implement and manage a shared appreciation down payment assistance fund program to promote home ownership in Cleveland middle neighborhoods, and authorizing the Director to apply for and accept any gifts, grants, or services from any public or private entity. Ordinance 83, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Human Resources to employ one or more professional consultants to provide professional specialized business consulting and assessment services for the purpose of recruiting specialized job positions for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew. Ordinance 120, 2024 by Councilmembers McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts with Go Apron for an automated airport gate scheduling and billing management software solution for the Common Use Airport Operations Program for the Department of Port Control. Resolution 552, 2024 by Councilmember Polensek, in support of the application submitted by Western Reserve Land Conservancy to the Clean Ohio Green Space Conservative Fund Program for the purchase of Euclid Beach Expansion Project. Ordinance 1329, 2024 as amended by Councilmembers Casey, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to employ one or more professional consultants to manage the use of city-owned electric vehicle charging stations or electric vehicle service equipment, and to charge fees relating to the charging stations and equipment.
Thank you. Call the roll on approval of tabling.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. We'll now move to introductions. Do we have any introductions? Any introductions? Any introductions? I don't see introductions. I don't see any introductions. Are there any announcements? Any announcements? Any announcements? I don't see any announcements. Miscellaneous, I know that Councilman Charles Slife have asked for extra time. So Councilman Charles Slife, you have the floor.
Thank you, and I think a key to success in this job is to be able to read the room and react, so I pared this back because I know we all want to go home. But Council President, this evening I voted no on 549-2025, which is a seemingly benign piece related to the North Coast Connector and the engineering work it requires. Now I want to be abundantly clear, I'm in favor of the North Coast Connector. For too long, downtown Cleveland has been separated from the lakefront. To our north, we are fortunate to have the planet's largest reserve of fresh water, and Clevelanders want and deserve better access to it. By creating a pedestrian bridge, slowing the shoreway, building a new multimodal center, and strategically guiding development, we have the opportunity to have a world-class lakefront. Yet, there is one component of this plan that I have been raising concerns in this building about for years, and in my opinion, those concerns have been spurned. In my opinion, before any more work happens, we need to have a conversation about the Main Avenue Bridge. Under the current plan, the portion of the Main Avenue Bridge between West 3rd and East 9th would be demolished. Eastbound drivers on the Main Avenue Bridge would be routed onto Lakeside Avenue at West 6th. Drivers would then turn left at West 3rd, go downhill, where they could turn right and get back onto the now signalized Boulevard Shoreway. Westbound drivers would do the same thing in the reverse. Alternatively, drivers could forego the Shoreway entirely and use Interstate 90 or city streets. I'm adamantly opposed to this aspect of the larger plan, and I find it unwise and unnecessary. Moreover, I do not believe that Cleveland residents fully understand that this administration has selected this as their preferred alternative. Now, the administration will have us believe that through community engagement that took place, residents overwhelmingly support all parts of the project, including this. I refute that. First and foremost, the community supports lakefront access. I can't think of a single person in Cleveland that doesn't. Secondly, the plan was presented to residents with this being the solution. It was essentially a manufactured consent for this change to the road network. So after speaking about this today, during committee, I whipped up a survey, posted it to my Facebook page, Councilman Casey shared it to his, we posted it to the Westpark Facebook pages, and I'd like to go through the results. This is my little Zach Reed. You guys are all too young for that, right? So, question, are you already aware of a proposal to close the Main Avenue Bridge between West 3rd and East 9th? Of 177 responses at 5:30, it's now up to about 325. 82.5 were unaware that this is being proposed. Are you supportive of this proposal? No, 88.7%. Of 177 responses. Now, I know we're always saying we can't be building our road network to cater to suburbanites. People just want to get out of Cleveland as fast as they can, which I find insulting because I live here. But so let's look at Cleveland zip codes that responded. 85.3% were unaware. That's more. 89.7% don't support it. That's more. I have two more, but I'll skip the last one because we're making the point. These are the two zip codes that comprise all of Wards 17 and 16, as well as large parts of 11 and 15. 90 plus not aware. 93.6% don't support this. So what's the community feedback? A 44111 resident who works in St. Clair Superior, I'm surprised to hear about this. A 44135 resident that works downtown. I'm concerned that the closure of the bridge will lead to increased congestion on Lakeside Avenue due to drivers now needing to exit the Shoreway into downtown. A 44135 student at CSU. I feel this is going to cause a lot of difficulty for people trying to get to work from the west side. And a 44111 resident who works in Pepper Pike. To close this down and push the traffic into the city is irresponsible on the city's part. Now, to be fair, I did hear from some proponents who I think might be conflating my frustration with this aspect of the project with opposing the larger North Coast Connector, which I support. One said, I'm an enthusiastic follower of local development news, and this is a step towards lakefront redevelopment and connectivity between the city center and Lake Erie. I'm all for it. I still just don't understand why this is such a linchpin. 44102 resident. As a member of the Planning Commission, you should be aware of this, Mr. Slife. I am. You claim to be pro-transit and pro-bikes, and up until now, I believed you were. I am. But frankly, this is sad and disappointing. You aren't my council person, and frankly, I'm glad you aren't. And from 44106, this is a very popular project that has been circulated amongst the public for a long time now, yet people don't know about it. Why wait this long to oppose the project? Certainly Slife can't have been living under a rock for the past 3 years. Act a fool, girl. And I thought that part was kind of funny. So it goes without saying that I oppose the truncation of the bridge, as it would affect the commutes of the people I represent. If you've never had a crosstown commute to get a kid from childcare like I have, I can assure you that just suggesting to add 25 minutes to your commute to get around Dead Man's Curve is a big deal. But more importantly, I oppose this because it decreases safety. I agree with the proponents about pedestrian and bike access to the lake, but I ask them, and I ask the administration, how is this proposal achieving that? We all know that people are more likely to ride a bike when there are safe facilities and fewer cars. Why is the administration proposing to increase the number of cars driving on city streets in the urban core, separating cyclists and the lakefront? Our Vision Zero plan or goal is for 0 pedestrian deaths caused by vehicles suddenly funneling thousands of cars into downtown only to make 2 turns and go on their way will not minimize the likelihood of vehicle-pedestrian crashes. I'm going to close by saying this. Again, I support the North Coast Connector. I support lakefront development. I support park access along our lake. I support bike and pedestrian connections to it. But I'm not a downtown councilman. My job is to advocate for, not to advocate for downtown projects. It's to represent the interests and perspectives of 25,000 residents who, friendly reminder, constitute the largest employment block in downtown and also vote at the equivalency of 2 wards. So my job is to speak for them, and I'm urging the administration to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I have Councilwoman Jenny Spencer and then Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Thank you, Council President. I want to briefly call attention to Resolution 734, 2025, declaring June 2025 as Pride Month in the city of Cleveland, celebrating the 10th anniversary of the landmark Obergefell v. Hodges Supreme Court marriage equality decision. Please. And calling on the Ohio State House to hold hearings on the Ohio Fairness Act. Thank you, colleagues, for supporting 734. I'd also like to highlight 735-2025, supporting the City of Cleveland's 2025 Climate Action Plan update, co-sponsored by Councilwoman House Jones, Councilwoman Moore, Councilwoman Gray, and Councilman Jones. And I'd also like to recognize Director Sarah O'Keefe for her leadership around this resolution. Thank you.
Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't plan on talking about the lakefront, but we had an additional presentation tonight, so I guess I will opine a little bit. No, Mr. Chair, and I know it's really late to everyone here, so listen, I hear my colleague here. I will say for 3 years, this presentation, this proposal has been out in the public. The administration went round 1 with public input, admitted, and this is what I love about this administration, when they screw up, they admit it and they change it, and they were like, whoa, this community engagement was not good enough, and hit an entire other engineered for inclusivity engagement process around the lakefront. Mr. Chairman, all I will say is we have designed this city around cars for so many years, and we have gotten what we have gotten because of it. Tonight, Mr. Chairman, I was proud to vote yes on 549 because I'm not playing with hundreds of millions of dollars of federal and state funding. I don't have that luxury. I'm not playing with that funding. Okay, voting no, to be clear, risked $20 million of state funding. I don't have the luxury to play with money in Cleveland like that. So let me just say that right now. I appreciate the diverse opinions on this project. It's been in the ether for years now, and I wish that before a critical vote like tonight, these conversations could have happened earlier. It is what it is. I'll close the books on that. And the last thing I'll say is, we're all elected to represent our wards, but we should think about the whole city. I think about West Park. I do. I think about the well-being of West Park, and I hope that people think about the well-being of Ohio City, Tremont, and downtown, even those that don't represent it. Mr. Chairman, the reason I really wanted to stand up tonight, though, is on Friday morning, you and I and members of the administration stood on West 25th Street at the ribbon cutting of Central Via 25 in the Clark Fulton neighborhood in Ward 14. And Mr. Chairman, I could not be prouder of my colleague Jasmine Santana, who from day one and her time in office said that we're going to have a seat at the table. She fought for that seat. She took out an incumbent, and from day one, she's represented everybody in Ward 14, but made sure that the Latino community here in Cleveland has a voice and a seat at the table. And not only to do that, but to say what are our priorities and projects. And the community had been fighting for a central community space where folks could come together and sell goods and have community events and really celebrate the culture and community. And she, with a dogged work ethic, did not stop a moment until she got that project over the finish line. So, Mr. Chairman, I just really want to recognize Jasmine for her efforts on that. She went in there, she fought like hell, and the ribbon that we cut, Mr. Chairman, on Friday was the culmination of many, many years of hard work. It was one of the proudest moments I've had on City Council to stand and watch her open the doors of Central Via and the Clark Fulton neighborhood. Thank you, Chair.
Truly was a great day, and so proud of our colleague who really fought for that, and so thank you. I echo those sentiments. Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today with deep concern, not just as a councilman, but as a lifelong Clevelander, about the entity known to most people as the GCP, often referred to as the Greater Cleveland Partnership, or as I will refer to them from this time going forward, as the Greedy Corporate Partnership, and their endorsement of the Cleveland Browns' move out of the city and into Brook Park. I want to thank the leadership of the City of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County for doing the right thing and cutting ties with an organization that doesn't share the same vision as those elected to lead the city and the region, or the residents who overwhelmingly want the Cleveland Browns to remain in the city. Let's call this what it is. It's a betrayal. A betrayal not only to the Cleveland legacy, but of the people who have invested their pride, their tax dollars, and their identity to the city. And what makes this sting even more is the fact that it's coming from an organization that has the word Cleveland right in their name. An organization whose executive board include a representative from Medical Mutual who uprooted their company, turned their backs on the city, and left for the suburbs. A representative from First Energy, a company who has spent decades trying to hurt our own municipally owned electric company, CPP, and who are involved in the biggest bribery scandal in the state of Ohio's history. An organization who has a board member who, while the owners of the largest fueling and travel center company in North America, was involved in a federal investigation, including raids on the company's headquarters, which led to the public disclosure of the fraud scheme and resulted in criminal charges against several individuals, and who eventually reached a settlement with trucking companies to avoid further legal battles. A company who also agreed to pay $92 million as punishment and settle over other lawsuits. These are the type of leaders within the Greedy Corporate Partnership that are making the decisions on behalf of the business community and the city of Cleveland. An organization where it appears that the executive board are all non-Cleveland residents. Let me be blunt. This isn't about football. This is about land. It's about leverage. And above all, it's about nothing more than greed. Greedy corporate partnerships that claim to work in the public's interest while doing everything they can to undermine the city they pretend to support. We need real partnership, one that values neighborhoods, not just net profits. We need institutions that fight for Cleveland, not funnel opportunities away. Because when Cleveland loses its team, its tax base, and its economic engine, everyone loses, except those at the top cashing in on the move. And if the vision of the greedy corporate partnership is choosing to support the self-serving, greedy billionaires who are all for socializing their expenditures and privatizing their profits, then it's time for a change in leadership. Not only am I calling for a complete overhaul of the executive board, but I'm also calling for the resignation or removal of Baiju Shaw, a guy who values billionaires' greed over what's best for Cleveland. Cleveland deserves better. We deserve leadership that doesn't just wear the name, but lives the mission. In closing, Mr. President, the leaders of the city of Cleveland are elected by the residents of Cleveland every 4 years. We're elected based on our ability to lead and the results that we deliver. I can tell you this, if the current ownership of the Cleveland Browns were on the ballot every 4 years like we are, and with their track record and winning percentage of 35%, Jimmy Haslam would have been a one-term owner. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. Do I see any other hands? All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody for a great session. I know that everybody's going to be stumping for the next few months. So all I could do is say thank you for your support, and let's go get them this summer. Thank you so much. Have a good one. This committee, Madam Clerk, please call and excuse the absences.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the absence of council members Moorer and Spencer are hereby excused. Moorer and Starr are hereby excused. Seconded by Councilmember Spencer.
Thank you. This council is adjourned to the call of the order. The next meeting of council is on Wednesday, July the 9th, 2025.